Welcome to Mind Your Business, the channel where we are in everybody's business. If you don't mind getting in people's business, you're on the right channel. Talking about current topics and gossip. Has the world gone crazy, Tracy? So, like many places around the world, masks are compulsory on public transport in England, in the UK, and just recently are now compulsory in shops. But my question is, how do you feel about all of this? Particularly with the fact that 0.03% of the population apparently have it. Now, I've seen it cause some social media beef between people, which might just be part of the agenda. You have those that are terrified because all of the mainstream media have filled them with terror, talking about deaths and numbers going up. Nothing about recovery rates or the fact that the majority of people have recovered really quickly, or that actually not that many people have had the virus after all. Then on the other side, you have those who just feel it makes no sense. We are being led by a government that is quite honestly a shambles, hasn't handled the pandemic/plandemic well, giving out confusing mixed messages. You know, they're imposing masks months later after the peak of the virus, while at the same time they're saying, okay, let's offer, 3 million people visas. Like, what is going on? So you're offering people in Hong Kong to come over. 3 million of them you're inviting. Strange to be inviting 3 million people over during a pandemic. But at the same time, you're telling us that we've got to wear masks. Then you've got this whole other policy that they're actually allowing business travellers to enter the country with no need to quarantine, particularly if you live outside the UK but you come to the UK for business, or if it depends who you also work for. But yeah, you don't have to quarantine. But if you're a UK citizen and you go on holiday, obviously depending on where you go, you may have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Lord have mercy, make it make sense. Now, I like to question everything, and I always say consider your source of information. So the UK government and lots of government officials around the world have seemingly been lying to us. You've got Boris Johnson, who has been lying his chunky butt off since before getting the role of PM, and he's clearly on a roll. These are serious times, but how do you take him seriously? Him and his Tory gang. I mean, come on. Have a look at the government website and you'll see it clearly states here that since the 19th of March 2020, that COVID-19 is no longer considered a high consequence infectious disease in the UK. But in June and July, we're bringing in masks and saying that it's mandatory. But back in March, you said that it wasn't a high consequence infectious disease. Again, let's make it make sense, people. They can't seem to get their numbers straight. You've got your own MPs breaking the rules. So clearly nothing is making sense here, right? You've got brave doctors and nurses around the world speaking out and trying to whistleblow and talk about what's really going on. You've got people, I've seen doctors in America and nurses saying the hospitals are empty. There's lots of, different sources coming out with information. And a lot of them are being vilified, they're losing their jobs or being demoted and just basically being gagged. And you've got mainstream media across the world that all seem to be singing from a scripted hymn sheet. It's like kind of, to the point of allegedly duplicating content. Now, here in the UK, we have mainstream media like the BBC who are running with headlines about this mask stuff at the moment, apparently debunking common sense. Yeah. Because what I find interesting is all the media reporting is so biased. What would usually happen is, ethical and balanced reporting where both sides of an argument are presented. So that's one for and one against, but not lately. So for example, this article only features an expert. It features an expert, and remember, I'd like you to all remember that the word expert just means anyone with knowledge in a specific area. So anyone can be an expert, okay? Doesn't mean that you know everything. So, or that we must take your word as bond, or that is the gospel. No, it doesn't mean any of that, okay? So always bear that in mind when you hear people say experts. And just because they're not on the BBC or on CNN or whatever, the popular channel that you've got that does news in your country, doesn't mean that their opinion and their experience is any less valid. So we have this expert quoted in here. It's Professor Keith Neal, who basically says that, masks are fine, surgeons would wear them, and so it won't impact on your oxygen levels. Really? Has anybody put something across their mouth before and their nose, and you've worn a mask? Tell me that you don't feel a difference with the oxygen levels. I mean, come on now, let's just use our own common sense. Put something across your face for a little while, wear that and see if you don't feel a difference. Of course it impacts your oxygen levels. Okay? I don't know why you're going to blatantly lie to people. It's just very strange to me. There are everyday individuals who've been wearing masks and experiencing dizzy spells, blurred vision, and more. And as well as experts and evidence to show that masks do impact and are potentially quite dangerous to our oxygen levels. So peeps, here featured a quote from Dr. Rashid Buttar. And it is a quote that you can go and visit on his channel. It should still be there, hopefully, if YouTube haven't removed it, like they did to my original video. Hence why you can't see it any longer. But yes, there was a quote here from Dr. Buttar saying, talking about the ineffectiveness of masks and saying that doctors who have been promoting that are basically being really irresponsible. So, but you can always check out his channel yourself and find that. Hopefully it's still there, or at least on his website. As we know, YouTube have been censoring and banning lots of truth. It also featured a video experiment, actually, on a TV show where they put on a mask on a young child, maybe about 11-year-old or so, and it just shows within a very short space of time how the oxygen, the CO2 levels depleted and became dangerous levels due to wearing a mask. And of course, YouTube have banned this video because it shows the truth. So I'm just letting you know in this section here that this is what was shown before my video was removed and my channel was flagged, which I find quite funny because it's just a small channel, but they're even picking on the small channels because we're spreading the truth. So I've worked with health professionals and I'm quite shocked at the silence, but at the same time, not so shocked because apparently there's lots of them that have been warned and told not to speak out. But, from my perspective, I feel like if you're a health professional, if you're a doctor in particular, you've taken an oath. Yeah, and that's to protect and to promote health. Okay. And those who I know who work in health professions genuinely want to help people. So to me, it's just ridiculous that this is the type of advice that's been given out rather than, okay, how about we boost our immune system? There's not been any kind of real push to, hey, why don't you look at boosting your immune system and making sure you're getting the right nutrients within your body to help fight off, any viruses. That's what you was always taught as a youngster. Then you've got Dr. Fauci, who's actually said that the masks actually don't save your life and, it won't keep you from getting a virus. So if that's the case, what is all this mask madness about? Then, of course, you've got Boris, who's also saying, Boris and his gang, who are also saying about the shop. So you've got people who can't go into a shop without a mask on, but then if you go into a restaurant, you've got to take a mask off. To be honest, I read somewhere online that someone said putting on a mask now at this point during a pandemic is like putting on a condom when your lady is pregnant. Yep, that's exactly what it's like, because it doesn't make any sense, does it? You've had the peak of the virus. At the beginning, you didn't have anyone wear masks. Now, masks, based on what all these doctors have said and based on what you've just seen, seem to not help you and inhibit your oxygen levels, which therefore will have a knock-on effect to your body. So wouldn't that therefore make you more potentially susceptible to getting ill a few months more down the line when they're talking about this potential second wave? Think about that. Food for thought, maybe. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's weird to be asking people to wear a mask at this point during the pandemic, considering that this has been, happening for months and we've passed the worst from what they've even said? Not to mention that there's all these questions about reporting and numbers not adding up. People who are, dying of one thing are being labelled as something completely different. You go in with a broken leg, you get run over, but somehow your death certificate says that you've died of COVID-19. So what is really going on with this? And are you complying? I see the amount of people I see driving around with masks, which is so dangerous for your own health. Just walking around during the daytime with masks on. I mean, they're not going into a place where you have to wear a mask. Just walking along the road wearing a mask is really quite sad, I think, because you're making you're impacting your own health by thinking you're actually helping others, but you're not. Based on the experts that we've seen on here, you're not. But what do you think? Yes, so thanks for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell so you know when I am uploading some more of people's business. So until then, my nosy people, stay blessed.